Okay, since a few people have asked about how I line my halter tops, I just wanted to show. I've ordered some kind of insert, what are they called? Bra pad inserts. I ordered these off of Amazon. I have AB cups, and then I've got, what are these? BC maybe. Let me look, make sure I'm saying the correct. These are, oh, they don't even say. Yes, they do. These are a CDE cup, so they're 5.8 inch. Natural cup size 30D or double D, 32D, 32DD, 34D, 36CD, or a 38 BCD. Anyway, they're fairly inexpensive, and you get 3 pairs in there. So what I do, my next one that I'm going to do is going to be a larger cup. So I'm going to go ahead and take this cup. The other ones that I have here are, these are the ABC cup. They're 5 inch. So they're ABC kind of cup size cups. All right. Again, I ordered mine off of Amazon, not sponsored by Amazon or the company here, but these are what I use. So this is what they come looking like. I'm gonna try and get rid of that glare on my table under there. Yeah, so they're just kind of flesh tone here. The other thing that I'm going to use is, I don't even remember where I got this. I got this with one of my crafting kits. So all it is pretty much a sharp needle, and then it kind of gets a little thicker. So this is what I use to poke holes. I started using a needle, and then I would go to a bigger needle. Got to be too time consuming. This is something that just is a little bit easier for me. I will end up needing a pair of scissors because I'm going to crochet. And then I use a fairly small hook. This one's probably a little borderline too big, but I like to be able to grab the yarn pretty easy. This is a 3mm. I think what I was using before was a 2 or a 2.5, but I couldn't find it when I was getting ready to film, so I'm just going to use this 3mm. So we'll see how much I struggle. I may have to go get that other needle. So what I do though is I just take this pokey needle. If you just use any darning needle or any thicker needle that you have, you'll follow the same suit. So I pretty much just, if you look at here, there's where the seam is already sewn in. I want to go under that because I don't want to disrupt that. I want to keep that intact so that the cup doesn't fray. So I just go slightly underneath it in that corner, and then I'm just going to poke my needle through there. And then because this kind of, it's almost like a reamer because it gets a little bigger, so I just kind of work it in there a little bit and then pull it out. So you can see I've made that little bit of a hole. And then I just try and, I just manually space it. I kind of freehand it, but I don't know what that would be, like 1/3 of an inch or so, 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so I'm just gonna poke this through and keep making those holes roughly that far apart from each other, and then along that seam. I don't want to go too close to the seam. I'm going to go a little bit over. So then I'm going to keep doing that through the entire cup. And then I'll go ahead and come back once I have the entire cup has the holes poked through it. Okay, so I have all of my holes poked in here. And then the yarn that I'm using is, I try to find a yarn that's going to be a thinner, not quite like a regular acrylic, thicker yarn. This is going to be a little bit of a thinner yarn, so it'll help fit through there. I do like to create a slip knot then. Okay. I also like to start at the corner. We'll see if this hook is going to fit through these holes. I might have to Might have to go try my other one. Yep, I'm pretty confident. Yeah, I'm not going to fight this hard. So let me go ahead and come back and do this again with a smaller hook. One moment. Okay, so I'm back and I have a 2mm hook. So I'm just going to try and pop that through once. So it's still going to be a little bit of work, I think, but as we can see, it's going to fit through. So this is the most monotonous part of the whole lining your halter tabs. So again, I'm going to start at a corner and I'm going to grab that slip knot and pull it through the hole. Okay. And then make my knot. Okay, so I want to tighten it down so it's pretty flush on there, but I don't want to tighten it to the point where it's going to start bringing in the corner. I want to keep it where it's keeping its shape, okay? And then on those corners, I'm going to put 2 stitches in that corner stitch. So I'm going to go 1 on either side of that corner. Okay. And if you're not sure what I mean, so the first one I did, I tried to land on this side. The second one is kind of laying on this next side. So there's 2 stitches then, and I'm going to work over my little tail there because I don't want to have to weave it in later. So I'm going to go into that next stitch. Sorry, the cat is wanting to be on camera as well. Okay, so a little bit of work still. Poke through, grab that yarn, pull it up, and then we're going to finish that single crochet. So as we're going around, it's just, oh goodness, I guess I didn't do a very good job poking these holes. I usually don't struggle quite this much. So again, this is going to be the most cumbersome part of the making this. Okay, so I do 1 stitch in every single one of these holes with the exception of each corner. So I'm going to go ahead and continue struggling through making a single stitch through each one of these holes. Again, you're going to have to work at it a little bit. So some time for this. You're definitely going to want to use either a bigger needle to bore out that hole a little bit larger, or definitely use a smaller size hook. I'm using a size 2 hook, which is the smallest hook I want to use. And it's barely, it's working, but it's just a little bit rough. I didn't really spend so much time trying to stretch the holes out. So again, I'll go ahead and keep going and I'll come back when I get to the next corner here. Okay, so I've come up to the end here. And a few things I just real quick want to point out is this is not an exact science. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. As I was working along the edge, there were a few of them that were a little more spaced out, and it felt like the stitch was just stretched a little bit more than I would like. So I just put an extra stitch in a couple of these. So instead of doing 1, I did do 2 of them. It's just so that we can keep this. So again, if you look at it, it's going along the seam. It's not pulling it in. It's not real loose and floppy. It's pretty much right flush along with it. And it's giving me enough stitches to work in so that as I'm crocheting the breast part of the halter top, once I get it to this size, I can just crochet into these loops to attach them to the inside of the piece. So that was the first thing I want to do or say is, again, you don't have to, it's not an exact science. You don't have to be completely symmetrical or anything. If you find that it just is stretching a little bit more, just put an extra stitch in there if you have to. The cool part about this is this part's not meant to be seen. You know, this is kind of just giving us that little modesty, covering up on the inside. You're not going to see really any of this. This is going to be on the inside of the shirt. What you're going to see is the outside. So as long as we have some stitches here that we're able to work into, that's going to be your main goal on here. So again, I got all the way to the end here and I put my one stitch on this side into that corner stitch. But remember, we want to do 2 of them in the corner stitch, 1 on each side. So I'm going to go back into that hole and do another one, but just try and get my work, that stitch, to lay on the other side. So now it's kind of got that corner. If you feel like you need to, you can even put a 3rd stitch in there. Well, just to give you some extras, because you don't want to pinch those corners up. You know, you're definitely going to have that peak now. So as you're attaching it, you've got the room to work into. And you're just going to continue working down the other side. Again, if you feel like, let's see if this is one of them, because this looks like it, eyeballing it, it looks kind of like, oh goodness, it looks like work is what it looks like. So it looks like, though, it's going to be a little far from there. Although I put 3 stitches in that top one, so I've got some room to move. Okay, I might want to repoke that hole because that's a lot of work. Okay. So, but it just seems like it might be a little bit of a stretch. Give it a whirl. We'll look. Oh, goodness. I'm kind of catching the, there we go. All right. No, I think that'll be good because I have that 3rd stitch in there. But again, if so, this next one though is kind of a ways away. So maybe I will put 2 in this one just to be on the safe side. Okay, well, my string's splitting. There we go. Okay. So I put 2 of them in that one, and then we'll go into the next one so that with that 2nd stitch in that hole, it should make it where it's not stretched so far. And again, just pull up some more string on your loop, make it a little looser so that it's gonna lay flush against there and not pull it in. You definitely don't want it pulling in. It's gonna make the whole shape of your cup kind of wonky. So I'm going to go ahead and continue working. And this is another thing. So as I punched my holes earlier and I've been working the other ones, you may need to go in and just give another little stretch to those holes because they're going to want to try and close themselves up a little bit. Make it a little easier. Put that, pop your, whatever you're using, your needle or whatever. Open the holes back up, and then we'll just keep working, and then I will meet you back up when I get to the corner again. I'm going to put a 2nd stitch in there. Okay, so yep, see you in a minute. Okay, so I've finished that 2nd side. I'm coming up to the corner here. So once again, we're going to hit that corner on the side we're already working on. We're going to make that stitch kind of fall along that side. We're going to go back in and do another stitch and try to make it fall on that other side. Maybe I do like the idea of just putting 3, especially with this larger cup. It's not going to hurt to have extra stitches in there. It's not necessarily that you have to go through every stitch that you're making. You're just making sure there's enough stitches to evenly distribute so that you can insert it into your piece. And you want to make them loose enough so that it's not distorting the cup. Okay, so bring that string up as you need to. So if you look, none of this is pulling in at all. It is going straight flush with the cup. It's not manipulating the shape at all, okay? I mean, the cup is already kind of curving in because it's a cup. You're not changing the edge at all though. Okay, so I'm gonna work on this last final stitch. I'll come back and we'll close this up together then. Okay, So I have all 3 edges of my cup lined here. This looks like both of those stitches fell on this side, so I'm actually going to just do another stitch into that corner that I started with to get it to kind of pull together a little bit more so it's not going to come up and pinch too much. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and go into that first stitch that I did and just do a slip stitch. Okay, go ahead and cut my yarn. I'm going to pull her through, and then you can either, as you're crocheting it to your top, you can crochet over that little tail, or we can weave it in. I just kind of want to show what this looks like then. You know, it looks real nice and neat. It actually looks kind of cute. But again, as you're crocheting that cup, if you were crocheting the cup right now, you could lay the one cup on top of this one, and then as you're crocheting the outer edge, just grab the loop, you know, put them together and just crochet them together. That's a lot of times that's how I do my cups. I'll also grab a cup, or a halter top that's already done and kind of show you how I would place these in there. I'm going to just go ahead and weave this end in to what I've already got. Again, this is going to all pretty much get crocheted into the piece eventually anyway, but I'm just going to take that, go through some of those loops. Okay, I'm going to go through quite a few of them and just go right on down. I'm going to go ahead and pull that through. Now it's laying under a whole bunch of layers of that. I don't need all of this excess, so I'm just going to trim that off. And there you go. There's your cup ready to line into your top. I'll go ahead and grab a finished halter top and show you how I would work it in if you're just adding this to an already done piece that you've got, okay? Okay, so I found a halter top, the first one I can grab right now because I want to try and get this video done quickly. This halter top is not one that I am actually going to attach this pad to because, I mean, this is a finished piece of work that really should have a liner in it. This is my butterfly halter top. This is a very small, petite one. So, and that's why I'm not going to put the C cup one. I suppose I probably could, but being as it's as small as it is, I'm going to use one of my A cups to put in here and not the C cup. But just for illustration purposes, I would take this piece. So on this butterfly halter, these are the parts that are going to go underneath your lower part, your rib cage. Okay, so your rib cage kind of comes this way, and then this is like the neck portion, correct? Right? Like this string that seems to be embedded. Okay, this string, the top of the butterfly, is going to go up around your neck, and then this string goes around your back. So your breasts are going to be in this area here. This is the outside, so I would flip it so that we're looking at the inside of the piece. Now I got to move all of my corset strings. Okay, so this is the inside of the piece. What I would do then is, once you have the piece like this, if you wanted to add this in here, as you can see this little triangular breast piece here, this cup would fit nicely. Now again, I don't want to waste a larger cup liner on a smaller piece, so I'm going to do a smaller cup size. But since I have these both here, I'm just going to show you. So what I would just do is go ahead and thread up some string you've got, some of your yarn. And then I would just go through, you know, a little bit of the inside of the shirt, and then go through a piece of that one of the stitches on there. You're going to go through, and then you're going to go up, and you're just going to do kind of a whip stitch, and you'll just do that all the way up and then through, just continuously making sure that they're laying flush so that it's not buckling. Okay, and then once you get all the way around it, just again like we did up here, we'll just go into that first stitch we did, tie it off, weave in your ends, and then the inside of this would be then you would have those cups on the inside of your piece so that wearing it you're not going to have any oops daisies, any peekaboos. Okay, so that's how we would go ahead and crochet those in. So thank you for watching. Good luck on your piece.